Today I will show you some of my footage from my sailing trip through the Caribbean back in 2016, and I'll tell you the story of how I was kicked out from the boat, so stick around for this video. Hello everyone, welcome to the travel show. I'm Chris, I'm your host for today again. Been traveling for quite a while in my time back in the days, basically before Corona, and now I'm back at my parents' place actually at home in Germany. And yeah, I started this travel show, so today we're gonna talk about the Caribbean. We used a website called Find a Crew, and with Find a Crew you can find a boat. So it's kind of a private boat or a private yacht, and you can work on a boat as a crew member, which is pretty cool. You don't have to be like an expert on sailing. You can actually have no experience at all before you do that. That was the case with me and my friend. So you can kind of fill out your profile and state your experience. And there's a bunch of captains. They just either want some company or they search for someone who can do like simple tasks in the beginning, and then they will actually teach you how to sail. And we were sailing with a US Marine colonel, around 70 years old. He was sailing his whole life. He was training the Marines, and he was quite the character actually. More on that later. But we met the guy in Grenada. So the actual first destination was Trinidad and Tobago, and from there we took a flight to Grenada, met up with the captain, and then we started to sail across all these islands until up here in St. Martin. That's where the journey ended. And it ended in quite a interesting way. He basically kicked us off the boat, and we had to involve the Coast Guard and the police, and they got them back again. But I'll tell you more about that later. So the top 5 highlights of my personal Caribbean trip, that's obviously a very personal thing, you know. Doesn't mean it's the 5 best things you can do, because I haven't seen it all. I've only seen parts of it. And I can only kind of tell you what are my favorite highlights. And in order to do that, I prepared a bunch of pictures for you guys. And we're gonna go into the full screen mode to have a look at them. So as you know, with sailing, you always have to check the sailing seasons. You don't want to sail during a cyclone or hurricane season for obvious reasons. And November is a good time to sail in the Caribbean. And the first one here, that's the first entry from my top 5. So this is number 5 from Grenada. Grenada was one of the first islands. As you can see here, we have a beautiful marina. One of these yachts is ours. I will show you more pictures from the yacht later. And of course, you have beautiful sunsets like nearly everywhere in the Caribbean. I love taking panorama pictures of sunsets, by the way, so you will see quite a lot of those. And Grenada is pretty cool because you can do some hiking there as well. So there's a bunch of outdoor activities you can do. One of them is the waterfall here, which you can actually jump from the top, or you can, well, I tried to climb it up, but it didn't really work. It's too slippery, but you can walk around and then jump down. So that's one of the hikes you can do in the middle of the island, basically. And just a side note, since our captain knew, well, probably doesn't know this place, but he knew the islands generally, he was always staying on the boat while we were out on the island starting to hitchhike everywhere. So we always had like 1 or 2 days of hitchhiking around and see the island. Luckily, they're rather small, so it's totally doable. That's me with a little turtle that we found on the way. So you have a bunch of cool wildlife things to meet as well. Not sure what I was doing here. But this is another hike. It's called the Quaqua Mountain, if I remember correctly. One of the highest points on the island, and it was really quite well, it was really slippery, let's say that, because it was really wet from some rain before. As you can see here, it was pretty muddy, so getting up the muddy slopes was not always easy. And when we started the hike, it was actually raining quite a bit. Luckily, the sun came out, and then you get some nice views on this lake here, for instance. And yeah, generally it's rather compact, everything, because the islands are really small. So it's not like you can do like multi-day hikes because you would just reach the end of the island. Yeah, when we got back from that hike, it looked like that again, like really, really heavy rain. This is actually normal there. Yeah. But in the end, it always clears up and you have some nice sunsets again. Everywhere you look, you see some sailboats around, and yeah, mostly it looks like that as well, like dark clouds on the horizon. So you always know the next rain is not too far away. I have a short video from here. Let me just quickly have a look. I want to show you something here. Ah, yeah. So there's one more thing you can do. It's diving, of course, and snorkeling. So there's an underwater marine park. So basically they have them in lots of places around the world nowadays. But essentially they put stuff in the water and they let it in the water to kind of become a reef at some point, or just get lots of algae and wildlife around it. And this one was a park in Grenada. And we didn't do a tour, so we did it on our own. Usually you have to get a tour and the boat will drive you on the exact spot and then you just dive down. But the way we did it was we would just like checking where it's roughly, and we were then just swimming for, I don't know, 20 minutes to get to that spot, and then by chance hoping to find the right location. And the main thing that you can see, we actually found on the very first try. So we arrived in the area and they were like, okay, let's have a look what's down the surface. And zack, first thing I see is this thing here. I think it's called, no, that's actually not the thing, you will see in a second. This one here. It's called the School Kids or something, I think. It's a bit shaky, sorry for that. It's hard to do that when you're swimming. This is how the yacht looked like. Some rain again. And for this one I will put up the volume. Yacht, and yeah, that's quite a nice kitchen area. And yeah, a little computer area, bathroom, actually 2 bathrooms. This is my room here. Okay, I will mute the music here because otherwise I get problems with YouTube. But I think just looking at that already can give you an idea on how nice it is to be sailing in the ocean, and especially the night sails were just amazing when you see all the stars. I can only highly recommend that. And the Caribbean, I think, is a good location to start it, because the islands are never really far away. This is actually the next one already, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the seafood, obviously, well, the problem is I'm not the biggest seafood fan in the world, so for me, I tried it, it was really good, but you all also pay like over $100 for one of these lobsters here. But yeah, the other guys, they really love them, so it must be good quality since it's coming fresh from the ocean. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have one place called the Tobago Case, and this is parts of it, and it's just one of these really, really beautiful islands where you can just chill out and swim and snorkel. You will have all these private yachts around you, so you're surrounded by, yeah, people doing the same thing essentially. Lucky for you if you have your own yacht. But if not, use that website, findacrew.net, to just hop on one of these for a month or so. There's a little shipwreck here. Sadly, we did not get closer to it, but it was kind of cool to see it from the distance already. And yeah, this guy, I'm not sure what he was doing. Obviously, he was balancing a bottle on his head for some reason. I don't really know why, but it made up for a cool picture anyway. Got another video here. Some more. So this is like, well, you know, sometimes, well, most of the time it was actually pretty cloudy and not always like sunny. But yeah, it's just really cool to kind of chill out there, swim, and yeah, you see like lots of nice wildlife as well. Is that Nemo? No, Nemo is yellow, right? Can't remember. And then off to the next spot, Trinidad Tobago on my 3rd spot. This is not the reason why I choose Trinidad and Tobago. This guy, but I wanted to include him anyway because it's from the Pitch Lake, and the Pitch Lake is I think it's even the largest asphalt production place in the world. And I just wanted to include that video because this guy, he was kind of funny. I hope this is the right one. Yeah. Just listen to him. Wait, is he coming in the beginning?
Guy for the Pitch League. And
okay. So he was just like saying, I'm a tour guide for the Pitch Lake, and he froze. Like you would kind of put him on pause.
it cost a guy 3,500 to get him out when he could appear a tour guide.
When he can appear a tour guide. That also made me jiggle a bit because he appeared to be a tour guide. He actually, we're not sure until now if he's actually a tour guide. I don't think so. But anyway, the reason why I put Trinidad and Tobago on the list was actually not because of the Pitch Lake. That's kind of a thing that you can also check out while you're in the area. But it's this beach here. It's, I wrote it down, Maracas Beach. And Maracas Beach, that was actually one of my favorite beaches on the trip. I just like the kind of the combination of having these nice separated palm trees on a beautiful sandy beach, and then you also have kind of these hills in the background, which in combination is just, yeah, it's just the perfect beach for my personal taste at least. So we spent some time on this one, you know, the usual stuff, swimming, snorkeling, you can do that everywhere. And yeah, if you go to Trinidad Tobago, it's kind of a good entry point for the Caribbean. Most ships are leaving from there. So definitely make sure to see some other parts of the island as well. It's actually 2 islands. Also check out the street food. They have some really good chicken stuff there, really spicy as well. Another one, isn't that a beautiful beach? Yeah, some more sunset and rain pictures. You see this one from the boat. It's just like you spend a lot of time on the boat, obviously. And yeah, the next part, number 2 on my list is St. Lucia. We were talking about this one in the previous episode as well, and I just simply love that island because of the mountains. So you have the pitons. This is the Gros Piton, which means the big piton, and then there's another smaller piton mountain, and together they are the pitons. Here's a random picture with a big cruise ship. Nowadays, you don't really see more of them, I guess. Their industry was certainly hit the hardest, I think, by Corona, because nobody really wants to go on a ship like that anymore. I never really wanted to go on a ship like that, but I think the picture looks pretty cool with the piton in the background, so that's why I put it in here. And of course, as I mentioned, we always explored the island by hitchhiking. So we would leave the marina, go to the next road, get our thumb out, and then start hitchhiking with the locals. And as everywhere in the world, it was an amazing experience. We were hitchhiking with all kinds of people again. We were hitchhiking with people that were delivering like kind of well, it's not like Amazon, but like their local Amazon or something similar, and he was delivering furniture, and we were helping him to carry the furniture in random people's houses, for us random at least. This was the first guy that gave us a lift, not a list, and it was all completely safe as well. So I'm just getting the question in the chat here: have you ever been robbed on your tour? Or have I ever been in danger? I've never been robbed, luckily. I've been to a lot of places that are not really safe, especially in Central America. Or buying like brand new camera in Cape Town. Cape Town can also be a bit dodgy, especially for people that live there. They break into the houses all the time. But luckily, nothing ever happened to me. Maybe it's because I treat people and I welcome people with a very positive smile on my face all the time, so they don't even think of doing something bad to us. And also, of course, we were lucky that because you can always run into the wrong person, you know, and be at the wrong time and the wrong spot. So it's a combination of being lucky, I guess, and yeah, just being aware of your surroundings as well. Like especially in Cape Town, sometimes I was just avoiding some streets if it looked too dodgy. Especially walking around with a new camera, you don't really want to get robbed then because it's not cheap there. But yeah, have a smile on your face, be nice, and yeah, just hope for the best, I would say. And then the best will happen to you. See, the police is around as well, so don't worry. So, and with Saint Lucia, this picture, this is from a private hotel, and you cannot get to that hotel area, to that beach. You can only go there if you have a room in that place, and it's really expensive. Or if you hitchhike, because we were hitchhiking with a guy who works there, and he was actually getting us in. You will see that in the video in a second as well. And this beach was just amazing because it basically has the best location on the entire island of St. Lucia, in the middle of both Piton Mountains. So you can see small Piton there, and behind me is the big one. And this beach is right in the middle of both of them. And this was just amazing. The snorkeling was amazing there too. This is yet another hotel, which we were able to see from our next ride with some tourists. So they booked a room here, and they offered us to check out their view. They have like a terrace, so the other beach was kind of down in the valley. So this is the big Piton on the left, you have the small one, and the luxury hotel is in the middle, and this one is high up in the mountains, and we were able to see both of them just from hitchhiking. I would love to climb that one actually. And then you can do some hikes. So this is actually still on St. Lucia hiking. It's another viewpoint from the highest point on the island now. So the second hotel that we took the pictures from was just around this hill basically. And yeah, that's just another really nice viewpoint. And in the end, we kind of found a spot that's not really on the maps or not advertised in the Lonely Planet or so. I can't even remember what the name of this village is, but basically from there we just randomly walked through the jungle and crossed some rivers and followed some streams, and then we ended up on a really cool spot where you have this view. Obviously there are local people around, you can see the boat there, and we also found an abandoned house actually. And but this is not really, you kind of have to make your way through the thick forest to get there, I would say. I think I could find out where exactly it is. I have like notes where I put down GPS coordinates as well, but just note that this is not a location that you can just walk up to or drive up to. I really like this picture actually. I uploaded this one on my picture gallery as well on chrisontour84.de if you want to check it out. I have a photography page there with all my highlight pictures of all my trips. So this was the latest edition. Yeah, in the video you will now see the hitchhiking stuff. So where is it? Okay.
We were right with the guy working at the Sugar Beach Hotel, and he gave us a lift, and yeah, it's a private resort, and he ordered a shuttle for us now to go to the beach.
Yeah, this was our shuttle. So he called that guy to pick us up even. So it was not like he would just drop us there. Like they even picked us up, and everyone asked if how we're doing. Like it really felt like we're part of the community. Yeah, that happens all the time with hitchhiking, because you meet people, or even sometimes they know someone who knows someone, and you know, it's just so much nicer than just like if you take a bus, you will never have these experiences. Before we get to number one spot, quick video on the situation where we were kicked out of the boat, because people were curious about that. So this was actually before the last spot, because we were kicked out of the boat before we could get there. And just as a background story for you guys, maybe let me switch back to the map here. So when we talked to the captain, we basically told him we have a specific amount of time. We had 2 months to get from Trinidad to the Dominican Republic, where we would fly out again. And it took quite a long time to get ready. So he basically said, yeah, don't worry. He's been sailing for 50 years. He can, he's sailing alone normally, so he can do everything alone. He doesn't need us. And as long as we want to join in, that's cool. We pay him $25 per day for the marina fees, for the fuel, which was super cheap. If you would hire like a captain and a boat, you would pay $1,000 a week or so at least. So we pay $25 a day, which is a really cheap way to cruise around on a yacht that costs like 2 million euros or so. And the plan was, whenever we noticed that we run out of time, we would then just take the next flight to the Dominican Republic. They are expensive. So the flight from Trinidad to Grenada, which is a very small distance, that was 250 euros. And just flying from one island to the other would cost at least 200 euros. Yeah, and then because we had a delay in the beginning, we basically started around 2 weeks after we were supposed to start. For 2 weeks, we were kind of stuck at repairing the boat because we had a leak. Not a leak, well, a leaked pipe. So the radiator didn't work. So we had to dismantle the boat and find the leak. And that took a long time. And then we had to get replacement parts. So we started quite late. And then, of course, we ran out of time. So when we were in Antigua, we basically told him, hey, we kind of run out of time. I think we need to take a flight now. He was at some point not so happy about it anymore and decided to kick us out from the boat. And the problem for him was that we were already stamped out. So at the immigration, because we planned to do a night sail, we were stamped in and stamped out at the same time. So he can't just leave us there since we're officially the crew, and he can't just leave his crew at a random island and you're kind of stuck there without a boat. Like flying would cost 500-600 euros or so, or even in the thousands if you book it on short notice. There's no transportation at all. There's no ferry, nothing. So you can only kind of hitchhike with another ferry boat, not a ferry. There's no ferries. And yeah, obviously, well, we were not in the best kind of relationship. Like we were getting into fights before sometimes because he gets angry really, really fast. Like sometimes something would drop on his foot because of the waves and he would just scream at me and shout at me and ask me, how can you throw this on my foot? While I was sitting opposite of him. I was like, hey, are you kidding me? What's wrong with you? That thing dropped because of the wave, which makes sense. Don't put it next to you. But yeah, he was like, because he was a Navy, he trained the navies. He trained really tough marine people, you know? So he has to be really tough. And he could not let go of this attitude, I guess. So even in his retirement life, cruising around the world, he still has that Navy Marine attitude, you know? So anyway, he kicks us out of the boat. He's telling us to grab our bags. So we go to his boat, take our bags. And yeah, then I'm going to the police and I'm telling them the situation. And they said, yeah, he can't do that. And we described the boat and where it was roughly anchored. And then the Coast Guard made sure that he can't leave because he wanted to leave to pick up his guns in the next island or something. It's another side story. But basically, he couldn't leave. And then the next morning, we all met up at the immigration. But the time between the night and the next morning, that was the craziest part. We were not sure if the people that pretended to take us to our kind of safe house, because we were illegally on the island at that point, because we were stamped out already. So we were, you can't really be on the island anymore if you're already stamped out. So they had to take us all the way to the other end of the island into a house of the police. And the people that were driving us there, they didn't really look like police at all. So on the way, we were really not sure, like, is this really the police or are we getting kidnapped now? No idea, but let's just see and we'll see what happens. On the way, we got some food, so everything was okay. And then when we arrived there, it was like this military complex with barbed wire fence. And they told us, you have to give us your phone, your camera. We had to give them all of our stuff. And then they locked us into the room because we were not allowed to leave. It had like, well, you will see it in the video in a second, this room. It was not a nice room. And they basically told us, yeah, next morning you will get your stuff back and you get a breakfast and then we drive you to the port. And then you have to get out of here. Luckily, nothing happened. We got the breakfast, we got our stuff back, and then they drove us back. But the night before, it was really uncertain of what's going on at that stage. But luckily, everything was okay. And I have a small video from that in here. So let's have a look.
About our plans.
Just
Told our captain about our plans, and he kind of kicked us out of the boat now here in Antigua, so we're not even going to St. Martin's with it. Yeah, still here at the police station, and the immigration guys are on the way here. I'm not sure if they will come with Marlon or without him, but soon we should know more about what's going on here. The immigration guys took us all the way to the other end of the island, close to the airport, near St. John's. So we're going to sleep here for tonight. They're trying to find Marlon now. Well, yeah, apparently they even have breakfast and lunch for us. So. Right, so it turns out that we have to go with him for another day. He came to the immigration now, and yeah, since we don't have a contract, they can't really force him to pay our flight out, so we would have to pay like $400 or so to fly to Dominican Republic from here. So we'll have one more sail with him, and then depart in San Martin one day later.
Yeah, so basically we were not really happy to sail another day with this guy. But there was really no other alternative. We didn't really want to pay like 500 euros for a flight on top of the other expenses that we had already. And there was no other way to get there. And the guy was basically saying, yeah, okay. So the next morning when he came to the police, he sounded much more relaxed, you know. Because when he kicked us out, I think it was just from the moment he was maybe disappointed that we're not coming with him for the rest. And he was just like, okay, then I'm kicking you out, you know. Next morning, he was much better already. And he basically said, yeah, don't worry. He will sail alone. It was a 14-hour sail through the night, and we can just sleep, you know. The night sails before, we were taking shifts, and everyone could have like these short amount of sleep that you get on a trip like that. And yeah, this time we were just sleeping, and the next morning we were departing, and the last spot on my list is then our last final destination, Dominican Republic. Huge island compared to the other ones that we just saw. And this island was my favorite spot because there's one particular beach it just feels so remote. So the beach is called Bahia de las Aguilas. So it's kind of the Eagles beach. And to get there, you have to obviously drive as close as you can. So that's a picture from that moment. We were hitchhiking again, of course, as usual. Another random boat on the way that you can see from the ocean. And this is the beach. So basically, to get to that beach, you have to walk. How long was it? I can't remember exactly, but it's a good walk. Maybe like 15 kilometers or so from the closest point where you can get with the 4x4. So you have the road, then you have to get a 4x4. And then from that, you have to walk another 15 kilometers to get to that beach. And it's this huge beach and there's nobody, just nobody. It's completely empty. This was still kind of the first small part where there's actually a restaurant there. But from there, you can walk even further and then you get to this part. And this is where we stayed. And the beach is going like all the way to the horizon here. So the beach itself is over 20 kilometers long. We didn't walk all the way. We walked to this part here, where you can see like the sandy part. And that was just amazing. The water there felt like in a different world. It felt completely different than anywhere else. So that's the reason why I picked the Dominican as the first spot here on my top 5 Caribbean list. We had like a lot of time there actually. We arrived quite early and we had the whole evening, the whole night. So here's some hermit crabs, I think that's the name, right? They just take a random thing as their home. Yeah, hermit crab, yeah, exactly. I put my tent here just for a picture actually, to be fair, because I wanted to have a picture of that empty beach with my tent. I then moved it up further because you don't want to sleep in the water, right? So this would be too close to the beach. Yeah, it was the 3 of us being there. And yeah, beautiful sunset. Completely alone on a 20-something kilometer long beach. That's really, really cool. And I think it would still be so empty because it just takes so much time to get there. So if you're looking for a spot that's really off the busy areas in that island, then I recommend to go to this beach. This is the actual spot of the tent next to a tree. But yeah, it was just incredible with the sunset and everything, and swimming in this water completely alone. Amazing. You can also do some other stuff there. There's a nice hike to waterfall, which you can see here in the background already. It's another picture a bit closer to the waterfall. Also really cool. And then there's another area called Samana. Samana is it's the northeast of the Dominican Republic, and they have a bunch of really cool beaches there as well. This one is also really alone and remote. Yeah, and this beach is really beautiful as well, as you can see. So Dominican Republic, it's obviously a big place, so there's a lot of stuff to see. And yeah, I can only recommend to check that one out. Thank you so much for sticking around to the very end of this video. I really hope you liked the content, and if you did, please consider subscribing using the bell icon as well to make sure you're not missing any of the new content. And I would also love to hear about your feedback in the comments.